Hey there everyone, Clifton here with Clifton Creative Academy, and in this tutorial we're going to be learning how to build a coaching website. This could be for a life coach or a business coach, and we're going to build this one section at a time. This is not an existing template, so we're doing this from scratch. So you can see we have the nice intro area here. We have a call to action section, the coaching services. There's even an opt-in form, which I'm going to show you how to create. And then we also have testimonials and a way for people to contact the coach. And what's even nice about this, I'm even going to show you how to create these really cool transitions. So you see how the sections transition in. And the other thing that's really nice about this is 100% free. So the theme I'm using is free. The page builder I'm using is free. Even the ability to make those transitions, everything's 100% free. And you can easily do this for yourself or do this for a client and still create a beautiful website without having to buy any Pro Tools. Now, later on, we will get into some Pro Tools, but for now, I just wanted to show you how with just a little bit of creativity, you can actually make something that looks really nice. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Okay, so to start building our website, we're going to need 6 website building tools. We're going to need a domain name and hosting. We're going to need a WordPress install. We're going to need a theme for our site, which we're going to be using the Cadence theme, which is a free theme that has some absolutely incredible features for a free theme. We're going to use the popular Elementor page builder to build out our pages. We're also going to need a Forms plugin, and we're going to be using WP Forms Lite to accomplish that. And last but not least, we're going to need some royalty-free images, which we'll be getting from pexels.com. So let's get right into it. Okay, so let's go ahead and tackle the first thing that you'll need, which is the domain name and the hosting. For domain name and hosting, I highly recommend a company called SiteGround, and I'll leave a link in the description below. But SiteGround is a web hosting platform that's trusted by over 2 million other users who host their domains and have hosting with them. I've been using SiteGround here for a little over 6 years, and they provide probably one of the most reliable and fastest web hosting services, both shared and dedicated, that I've seen. So you're in pretty good hands with SiteGround. When you first come here, you can read about the company and you can see all the different services that they offer. Offer a lot of tools and very flexible to work with. So when you first come, I recommend you just go with the Manage WordPress Hosting. Just click on Get Started. It'll take you to some options here, and you can see they have a starter option all the way to a more advanced option. I would recommend the one in the middle if you're just getting started, which is the Grow Big option, only because it allows you to have unlimited websites on your server, and you get 20 gigabytes of web space and 25,000 visits monthly, amongst other things. So once you get here, click on Get Plan, and then it says here register a new domain. If you already have a domain, then you would select this option, but we're going to register a new domain. I'm just going to show you how this works. So we're going to say Clifton Creative Coaching.com, and we click Proceed. You can see here it says that my domain is available. So what you would do here then is you would put in your email, a password, and then you would put in your personal information here, and then put in your payment information, how you're going to pay for the hosting. And then right here, you get to select the period of time, and you can select the period from 12 months to 36 months. Just gonna leave that at 12 months for now, or if you feel confident, you could do it 36 months and get a little bit of a savings, but we'll say 12 months. Okay, and then here you have the domain registration already checked. We're going to select domain privacy if you want to hide your information. That way you don't get spammed because you purchased a domain. Your information won't be available on the internet. And then they have this SG site scanner, which basically checks your website daily for whether you've been hacked or if they've injected you with some malicious code. Sometimes you're able to do this yourself if you're experienced, but if you're not, you can pretty much rely on SiteGround to take care of that for you. But let's say you selected all the options. You will see that your total here is $119.15 for you to get a server. You get it for 1 year, and you get to be able to build as many websites as you want. So go ahead and select the check boxes here to confirm, and also to see if you want to get some notifications from SiteGround. And then you would click Pay Now. It would process your credit card, and you would be in. You would basically have your hosting panel ready, and you can start building your websites. Now that we've got our domain and our hosting, the very next step is for us to log into our SiteGround account and go ahead and set up WordPress, which is the second step in the process of building out this website. So once you do that, just go ahead and click on Login. You'll be met with a page like this. And from here, we're going to select websites. You're going to see the domain that you purchased right here. Go ahead and click on the cPanel button to the right, and you'll be dropped into the cPanel right here. Okay, so now we're going to go straight to our auto installers. We're going to select WordPress. It's very, very simple. And then from here, I'm going to say, yes, I want to install the latest version of WordPress. We're going to select our domain from the list here. Now I'm working with a lot of subdomains here, but I just want the Clifton Creative Coaching. There it is right there. Okay. Leave this part blank. And then right down here, we're going to name our site. So Clifton Creative. Give it a tagline. We're going to leave the multi-site option unchecked. And here you have your admin username. So you use a username that you like to use, something that you can remember. So in this case, I'm going to call this Coaching Admin. Okay. And the password here, we're going to leave this, but we'll change this password later on. And then your email. Okay, so I'm just going to put one of my emails in here. Okay, language will be English. We're going to leave the rest of this unchecked. I like to have a clean WordPress install. There's this WordPress starter. This will install some themes and plugins for you. I do not want that, so I'm just going to ignore that. I'm going to uncheck that. And then just leave everything else as is and go ahead and click on, actually what I'm going to do is going to copy this password and go ahead and click on install. It says it could take 3 to 4 minutes, but this usually happens fairly quickly. Okay. So now the WordPress software has been installed successfully, and we can now go ahead and log into our WordPress site. And the way you do that is you click on this URL right here. Okay. And it will take you directly to the dashboard for WordPress. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at this. If I go to the front end, so we have here our default install with the default WordPress theme. So there's absolutely nothing here. Then I'm going to go to the dashboard. And in here, I'm going to set up WordPress. I'm going to set up a few settings to make sure that the website is exactly the way that I want it. Now, the very first thing I always go to is I go to plugins. And the reason I do this is because I want a clean install. So if there's any plugins that are automatically installed here, I would like to remove that. So I'm going to go ahead and deactivate this and delete. Don't need this. Okay, so now this is clean. And then I'm going to go to settings, general. And here I'm going to make a few changes. One, I'm going to set this up to be my local time, which is Pacific Standard. You can use Los Angeles here. Click save. And then under the permalinks, I want my permalinks, which is the structure of your URL. I would like the structure of my URL to be the domain name and then whatever page or post we're on. So this looks like it's already set up exactly the way that I want it to be, which is perfect. Click save. Okay. And now that I've done that, the next thing that I want to do now is I just want to double check my site, make sure that everything is in here correctly, and it is. And we have successfully installed WordPress. So we now have a clean install of WordPress, and we're ready to move on to the next step, which is going to be getting our free theme and installing our page builder and plugins. Okay, so let's go ahead and install our theme. Now, for those of you that don't know what a theme is, when I go to the website, the theme basically has to do with the look and feel of the website. Every website that you build on WordPress requires a theme, which is basically, you know, your colors, your header, your sections here. So, and every theme is different. And there are lots of free options in the theme repository of WordPress. Matter of fact, if you go to the dashboard, go to Appearance and go to Themes, you will see the current themes that are installed right now. But if I click on Add New, it's going to show me all these free themes that are in the WordPress repository. And every theme operates a little bit differently. And there are a few themes that are absolutely exceptional, and some of them are questionable, but I like to use themes that give me a lot of options, a lot of flexibility, and where the authors have put a lot of thought into it. So one of those themes is a theme called Cadence. And typically when you're looking for a theme, you're going to go ahead and search for a theme here in the search bar. But the Cadence theme is so new that if you search for it, it actually isn't in there yet. It's actually in the process of being approved for the WordPress repository. Okay, so you're not going to find this theme inside your default install. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to go to the direct website for this free theme. And that website is, put the link here in the description, but it's cadencewp.com. And when you get here, you will see here the full website of the full page of the website. They offer a lot of plugins and other themes that are actually fairly useful and that people have been using for years. But this Cadence theme is a new one. So we're going to go here to products, and I'm going to click on themes. And the one I'm looking for here is the Cadence WordPress theme. Click on view details. And this theme is absolutely free. So you can see there's no purchase, nothing to purchase here. You just simply click on the free download here. They will ask you to put in your email address if you would like to get some notifications from them. I've already done this, so I'm just going to click on no thanks. I just want to download the theme. And now the theme is now ready to be downloaded. So I'm going to go ahead and click save it down here to my downloads. And now I've got the theme. So then I'm going to go back to my WordPress page, WordPress install. And from here, I'm going to go to Appearance, go to Themes, and I'm going to click on Upload Theme. Then I'm going to go ahead and choose that theme that I just downloaded, upload it, and install. Okay, I'm going to click on Activate. And now our theme is now activated. So when you go to the front end of the website, you can see now that the website looks significantly different. And don't worry about this. We're going to configure all of this to make it look beautiful. But now we have a nice starter theme to go ahead and get started with. So before we continue, I just want to do a brief overview of the Cadence WordPress theme, which is free. And I find this theme to be very impressive for a free theme. Typically, a lot of the features you'll see here, and I'll show you this in a few minutes, are things that you'll find in what's in a paid theme or premium theme, right? So what I want to do is I just want to do a quick overview, and maybe in another video, I'll do a deep dive on the Cadence free theme itself, but just a quick overview so you can understand why I consider this theme to be very powerful. So whenever you install a theme, typically the best way to understand how that theme works and see all of its features is to click on the customize link right here in your WordPress toolbar. When you click on that, it'll open up a tray here to the side, and all the features of this theme and areas that you're able to customize will become available. For instance, now when I hover my mouse around things, so I can see here, there are edit links that are showing up in key areas of the theme, right? So there's edit links on the footer, edit links in the footer area, edit links on the header area, and so on. So obviously this theme, the Cadence theme, actually has edits that allow us to make changes to our header and our footer, which is very important, because if you can make changes to the header and footer, then you can design this any way that you want, right? But the best way to really understand the theme is to just go through the tabs, go through the links, okay? And typically you will have the links to its different sections. So we have general, header, footer, page layout, blog post, menus, and then you have the typical WordPress options, which usually starts from menus all the way down to additional CSS. So let's just look at the general setup. So when I click on general setup, I can see that I have more options, and we have layout, sidebar, colors, buttons, typography, and social links. These are all areas that we can configure. So for instance, if I click on layout, it shows me here what the content max width, so this area is, and I can change this. I can make it wider if I want to, or make it narrower, right? So you see that in real time. Okay, really cool. The other thing that you can do is you can also make changes to the content top and bottom spacing, right? So I don't want to change any of that. And you can also narrow the layout of the content max width. So there's a lot of great changes that you can do here. Let's go check out the sidebar. So right now, right here, okay, we don't have a sidebar on this one. But if we did, you can control the width of the sidebar. Colors. So we have the global palettes, and you have these different palettes that you can select and make changes to, and that will give you sort of the color scheme for your site. And you can have your own custom color scheme if you want to. And here you can just select any of these different colors for your site. So if I want the title above the content background to be a different color, I can do that. If I want the content background to be a different color, I can do that as well. And it'll show you here what the current content background is. And if you click on it, see, we can change this, right? So I can select this to be dark. See that? This is the content area, and the background is now dark. But we want that to be white so that we can see the information. Okay. What about the site background? If I want to change my site background, see that? I can make these changes, and you can pick any color you want. I'm just using the color palette here, but you can change any color you want. Okay. Very powerful. The next thing that you can also check out here is going to be the parts that are actually very important, the header and the footer. So let's take a look at the header area. So when you click on the header area, immediately in the tray, you can see you have access to the logo and your primary navigation. And then you see these things here that you can sort of move around. Where do these go? Well, if you look here to the bottom, this is where you can customize your header. So this is the header area, right? So I have my logo here on the left, okay, which is just text, and my menu here on the right. Well, I can move this around. What if I wanted my logo to be in the middle? You can just click and drag, and it automatically puts it in the middle right there. What if I want my navigation to be below my logo, right? I can move it to the lower level here. See this? Okay. There's also a top area. I can move my logo up there. So there's 3 sections that I get to play around with. Okay. But we want our logo to be on the left area here, and we want that actually all the way left. And our navigation to be on the right. Okay. Just like that. Now we can also add additional sections. What if I want a button? Okay. I want a button to be here. See, this is pretty cool. You typically don't find this on a free theme. And then it also, every single element here, so we have a secondary navigation element, a search element, right? So I can add a search here right after my menu, right? But every single element has some kind of customization that you can do. For instance, on the button, I can go ahead and click the gear here, and I can change the label to say what I want. Maybe contact me. Okay, maybe I wanted to say that, right? Let's change that back. Okay, you can also design your button to be the way that you want it to be. So if I don't want it to be blue, what if I want the color of the button to be one of these colors, right? I can change the color here. I can use this color slider and make that change, and I can do pretty much anything that I want, right? Let's go ahead and reset that. So there's a lot of customization options, but what's great about this is now I can build any kind of header that I want, and I have 3 sections in the header to be able to play around with. Okay, this is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and reset all this. Let's take all this back out. Matter of fact, let's put it back to what it was before, which was we had, if I go back to the header, we had a primary navigation right there. Okay. All right, so this is actually pretty neat. Now, guess what? You can also do the same thing for the footer area, right? In the footer area, you get to be able to build any kind of footer that you want and make any kind of changes that you want. And here are the available items that you can place in any one of these 3 areas. Okay. Now, one of the things that's really cool about these rows, you can even customize the rows. So for instance, we're here on the bottom row. If I click on this gear, it opens up another tray for me to be able to customize this layout, right? And so right here, this bottom row layout can be customized to anything that I want. Now, what if I want, right now it has just 1 big column. What if I want 4 columns? I can go here under columns, click that, and boom, I now have 4 areas where I can place content. Okay. What if I want the the color, the background color to be different here. I just click on design, and now I can change the bottom row background color to be any color that I want. You see that, right? So this is actually very, very neat, very, very powerful free theme. I just wanted to show you guys a few of its capabilities and why I chose it to be able to build out this site. And the best part of this is this theme is completely free. And now there are other areas too. We can mess with the page layouts. We can select different types of blog posts layouts for our blogs if we want, right? So right here, you can see here, we can have a blog post layout that we can select. We're gonna have a lot of fun with this when we start building out our website. It's gonna be really, really, really fun. Okay, so that's the Cadence theme. In another video, we'll probably do a bigger deep dive and go through all of its features, because there's a ton of features in it that we didn't cover right now, but we just need the theme as a good foundation for us to build out our coaching website. All right, so now that we've got that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next part of our tutorial here, which is basically installing plugins and building out our home page. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to need to do, now that we've installed our theme, let me go ahead and close this out. Now that we've installed our theme, we need to install the page builder and then also the plugins, right? So the page builder we're going to be using is the Elementor plugin that's free. We're also going to be using WP Forms Lite, and we're also going to get our images from pexels.com, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll. So let's go ahead and go back, and we're going to install the Elementor page builder. The Elementor page builder is a plugin. So we're going to go to the dashboard, go to plugins, and we're going to click on add new. We're going to search for Elementor, and we're going to click on install and activate. Great. I'm going to go ahead and skip this. So now that we've installed Elementor, if we go to our, let's go to a page here. Actually, let's add a new page so we can take a look at what happens when you're using Elementor. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and skip this, and let's just call this our home page. And I'm going to go to right here on the right where it says document, click on that. And we're going to select page attributes, and the template that we want to use is the Elementor full width template. That's going to allow us to be able to have a page that goes from one end of the screen to the other end of the screen, and we can make our design changes as we want. I'm going to go ahead and click on publish here. Okay, and then we're going to click on edit with Elementor. Great. So this is what the page looks like, okay, when you're using Elementor. Now, Elementor is called Elementor. Why? Because it has all these page building elements. And the elements are basically what you use to build out your page. To start building out a page, you're going to need a layout first, or a structure, right? You can click on this plus sign, and you can see you have different options for how many columns you want in your structure. Okay. On the left here are all the elements. And for the free version of Elementor, let me go ahead and close these so you can see what it comes with. It comes with a basic option, right? You have access to all of these. There is a pro version of Elementor, which gives you even more modules. We're not going to have any access to any of these pro modules. Okay. So we won't be able to use any of that. So we'll close that. And then there's a general section, which gives you modules that you do have access to, that you can use. Things such as an image box or testimonials or shortcode are contained here. And then you also have access to the WordPress widgets that come by default in WordPress. There are some site options that you would normally use with the pro version. We're not going to have access to that. And there's WooCommerce options that we will not have access to as well, right? So it really doesn't give us it doesn't appear to give us a lot, but it gives us what we need to be able to build out the page that we need, right? So between the basic and the general, we're going to be able to build something fairly nice. Now, I will show you something here. When you go to, let's go ahead and exit out of here. So I'm going to click on this hamburger icon, and I'm going to go to exit to the dashboard. Okay. Now, Elementor as a plugin by itself, as a free plugin by itself, is great, but there are a lot of also very reliable helper plugins that give us more features. So we're going to go ahead and go back to the plugins section here. We're going to click on Add New, and I'm going to go ahead again and search for Elementor. And you'll see that there are a ton of Elementor related plugins. Some of these actually give you additional add-ons for free, right? And some of them have paid versions as well. The one that I like to add on to give me just a few more extra modules and a few more capabilities is Essential Add-Ons for Elementor. Now there is a pro version of this, but this is the free version. We're gonna go ahead and install that too, okay? And I'm gonna click on Activate, and I'll show you here in a minute what happens when you have this add-on. So let's go here and let's click on Edit with Elementor. I just went to Pages, and I went to that home page, and I now access the home page by going to Edit with Elementor. And in here, you'll see that we still have the same modules section, right? But now there's an Essential Add-Ons module section as well. And this gives us more elements that we can play with, right? Gives us almost 53 more elements. Now, some of them are locked up, right? Because of the pro version, right? But we don't need these. We're not going to need these for this particular tutorial. In a later tutorial, later video, maybe we'll explore the pro version of this. But for now, the purpose here is to be able to build a beautiful website using free tools. Okay, so all I need for you to install is Elementor, the free version, and Essential Add-Ons for Elementor, and we'll be ready to start building out our page. Okay, now we do have one more plugin that we want to install. So let's go ahead and click here in the hamburger icon. I'm going to go to Exit to Dashboard. And we're going to go to Plugins, Add New. And we're going to search for a form plugin called WP Forms. This will allow us to create a contact form and also our subscription form. So we're going to click on Install Now. Activate. And our WP Forms is ready to go. Okay, so let's go back to our dashboard here. You can see the WP Forms listing right here. Later on, we'll create a form to help the form to put on our page as well. Okay, so what have we done so far? We've gotten our domain name and hosting. We've installed WordPress. We installed the Cadence theme. We've installed the Elementor page builder and also Essential Add-Ons for Elementor. We've also installed WP Forms as well, and we know we can go to pexels.com, which is where we'll be able to get all our images. And if you don't know about Pexels, just go to pexels.com, click here, and we can search for any image that we want, right? So if I want an image of a professional man, for an example, right? So we want a coach. I have lots of options to be able to choose from here. Okay, lots of options. Okay, for our coaching website. So this is great. All right, and these are free. These are royalty free, which means we can use them on our website without attribution or without somebody coming after us for copyright infringement. Okay, so this is awesome. So now we are pretty much fully ready to go ahead and start building the site and start putting our elements on the page and creating our home page. So in the next section here, we'll be basically doing just that. We'll build out our website. Okay, so now that we have all our tools installed, let's go ahead and start building our page. So at our page here, you can see here, we have here, it says Hello World, which is the blog, default blog that comes with WordPress. And here in our menu, we have home and we have home page. We're going to change this so we can have our actual menu and we can have a clean page to start building from. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to go to Dashboard, go to Settings. We're going to go to Reading, and under Reading, you see here where it says your home page displays. We're going to select a static page, and we want the home page to be that home page that we created. Go ahead and click Save. And then let's visit the front end of our website and see what that looks like now. So you see here now it looks nice and clean. We have our header, we have a little content area, and then we have our footer. The next thing we want to do is we want to change our menu. And to do that, we need to do two things. We need to create pages, right, for our website. That's going to form our menu. And then we need to configure our menu. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that now. I'm going to go to here to the dashboard. And we're going to go to pages. And we're going to look at all the pages that we have. So right now we have our home page. Let's add a couple more pages. So click on Add New. We're going to call this our About page. I'm going to go here and I'm going to make sure that I'm selecting the Elementor full width because I want to build out the page using Elementor, right? So under Page Attributes here to the right, you're going to select that. Go ahead and click on Publish. And now that's done. Okay, next, click on the WordPress icon here on the top. And we're going to click on Add New. Okay, and we're going to add another page. Let's call this our Contacts page. Okay, Contact page, Publish. Okay, great. Now, what other kind of page will a coach need? A coach will also need a engagement page or how to work with me page. So, okay, so let's call that the engagement page. I'm going to go back here again. And I'm going to click on Add New. And we'll call this Engagement. And in this page, we're going to explain how to engage with your coach. We're going to select our default template to be the Elementor full width. Select Publish. And now we have some pages. So when I go back here, I can see now I have home page, engagement page, contact page, and the About Us page. Now I can go ahead and create my menu. So I'm going to go to Appearance, go to Menus, and here we're going to name our menu. We're going to call this Main Menu. Very simple. Click on Create Menu. And then I'm going to view all the pages that I have, and I'm going to select the 4 that we created and add them to the menu area here, right? I'm going to change the name of this by clicking on the arrow, and we just call this Home. Okay, so Home, About, Contact, Engagement. Very simple, all right? Now we also need to create a display location, so I'm going to make this the primary menu. Click on Save, all right? And now when I go to the website, you can see now we have this nicely organized menu here, okay? Now I notice I also have home and I also have home page. So this is showing up twice. So let's fix that. Go here, back to menu, okay? View all. We're gonna select the primary, save menu. Okay, now that this is saved, when I go back, it's cleaned up, okay? The only reason that was like that was because the primary menus area wasn't selected, and this is the primary menu area, okay? So now we have our page cleaned up, we have our logo, we have our menu cleaned up. We're now ready to start building out our page. Okay, so in building out the page, a lot of people have a lot of different ways that they build out their websites. I like to keep it very simple. I start from the top and I build straight down. So the top here will be the header. Then I'll build out the content area. Then I'll build out my footer area, and I'm done with my home page. I'll create one inner page, and typically I'll replicate that for all the other pages, and I am done. Nice and simple. We're going to be doing the same thing here. So to start, the header area here, we're going to start is actually done in the theme, right? So the theme is what we use to customize our header. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on Customize. Okay, and as I'm doing this, I'm noticing, hey, my navigation here has a contact page before the engagement page. I'll show you how to change that here using the customizer. Okay, so we're going to change that right now. We're going to go to Menus, and you see here where it says Main Menu. Okay, we're going to select that one, and it's literally a matter of just dragging and dropping it where I want it to go. Okay. And I want it to be top level page. So matter of fact, I'm going to put it right after the home page. And I'm going to go ahead and click Publish. And you can see now it's now arranged exactly the way that I want it. Then we're going to go back and we're working with the header. So I'm going to click on the header. Okay, and when I click on that, there's this little tray that opens up here in the bottom that allows me to drag and drop the elements for that I want for the header. Currently, we have a logo and we have the prime navigation. Okay, now the other thing that I want is I want a call to action. So I want a button here that says Get Coaching. So I'm going to go ahead and drag the button here right to where I want it. And we're going to customize this button by clicking on the gear. I want the button to say Get Coaching. Okay, just like that. And then let's add a few more design elements here. So right now it's a filled button. You can also have an outline button. We're going to say filled. We want people to be able to see the button. Then the other thing that I want to do is I want the background color to be a little darker. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to select from the palette that they already have to make this easy on myself. All right, so let's see, what does this one look like? That one's too dark. I like this one in the middle. Okay, so I'm just going to select that and make it easy on myself. I'm not going to add a border. The font looks fine, but if you ever wanted to change a font, it's just a matter of selecting it, and you can change it to whatever font that you like. You can also change the font size, or font weight, sorry, or the size, right? So I might want the font to be bigger, right? So I might do that. It's too big. So I'm just going to use a number that I know, which is 16 pixels. And I am literally fine with this. This looks great. So go ahead and publish your changes to save it and get out of it. And we are done with our header. So easy, very simple to do. Nothing more that you need to add there. Just keep it nice and clean and simple. Okay. Now we can start building out our page. And to start building out our page, we need to use Elementor. But to do that, we need to tell this page that we want to use the Elementor page builder to build it out. So I'm going to come here and click on Edit Page. And from here, we're going to click on Edit with Elementor. And now that we've done that, it's now opened up for us to start building out our page. Okay. Okay, so if we look at that coaching site, you'll see here that we have a nice featured area here with 2 columns on the inside, an image on the right and some text on the left and a button. So we're going to recreate this entire thing here in our page. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to click on the plus sign and I'm going to select a 1-column structure. Typically the way I like to build is I like to have an outer section and then an inner section to give me the best design flexibility that I can get. So I'm gonna go ahead and select this handle and start customizing this area. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to keep it as a box section, but I really want this to be 1300 pixels wide so that it's stretching the full width of the column. Okay. Then the next thing I want to do is I want to give it a minimum height, and in this case I'm just going to go with 800. I can always adjust this later if it's too large, but I think this is just going to be fine. So now we should have a section with 1 column on the inside. And then the next thing I want to do from the elements, so clicking on the elements icon here, I want to add an inner section. And the reason I do this is because sometimes I may want to have more design or more layers of design for my structure. So I'm going to add that intersection there, and then I'm going to select the handle so that I can edit just this section, and I want that to be full width, the full width of the column. So now I have this 1 column with 2 columns on the inside and an outer section right here. Okay, so then the next thing to do will be to put the elements on the inside. So right here we will have an image. Let's go ahead and just add a default image for now. So I'm just going to grab the image element and just put that there as a placeholder. And then next I'm going to add the text. So we have a heading, and in that heading we're going to grab that over and I'm going to say, hi, my name is Clifton. Okay, and we can go ahead and style this heading, giving it a text color of black, and the typography, meaning your font's family size and your styles, we're going to choose something with a serif font. So I'm choosing Rafina on this one. I want the size to be 40 pixels, so it's nice and visible. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to create the second subheading, and I'm just going to grab another heading element, put it directly underneath there. And it says, I can help you succeed. Okay, I'm going to change this one to an H3. So this is H2, now this will be H3. And I'll come here under style again. This time I want it to be a little lighter in color. So a little light in color, kind of like that. And then in the typography, I'm going to use a non-serif font, sans serif. So we're going to use Muley is a really good one. It's nice and clean and elegant. Okay, it can help you succeed. Now, if we wanted to mirror exactly what's happening on this page right here, then we could just use the same font. So I can come here and we could do the same thing. We could just make it Rafina. There, okay. And we'll give this a little bit darker color, just so that it's not as dark as the other one. Okay, and then the next thing we need is some text. So grab the elements again for the element icon. We'll grab the text editor. Whoops, let's put that in the right place. There it is. And then we can just take exactly what this says, which I think it says the same thing. It does. And we're going to style this, and I believe the text color here is black. It's like a really dark color. And then we also need a button. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a button. You can see how everything's coming together fairly simply, right? So we grab the button, and the button will say, let's talk about your business. All right, and there's an icon. We'll use the arrow. Insert that. And we want the arrow to be after. Great. So now we want to style our button to look exactly like this one. Okay, so there's a couple of great things that are happening here. I have a little bit of a background, and we have a hard shadow. So we're going to go back to ours, and we're going to replicate the same thing. So first, in style, we're going to do our typography. And I believe in this case, let's do a 16 pixels so you can see that. And then the color is a dark blue. Okay, the background color is very light. Okay, and then we also have a box shadow here, and the box shadow looks like it just has a hard exterior, and the color seems to be a light blue. So let's grab the blue, kind of like that. All right, and okay. So let's see what it looks like. I'm not seeing the shadow. So let's do that again. Let's reset this. Ah, I know what's happening. There we go. I don't know why that didn't show up at first. Okay, so now we have a nice shadow. Now I'm noticing something here. There seems to be a radius around this button. So I don't want that. I want it to be hard corners. So we'll make that a 0 under the border radius. And now we have a nice button. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and update to save my work, and then let's look and just make sure that everything's lining up correctly. So when you look here, you'll kind of notice that these are kind of center aligned, right? The image is here and this is down to center. So let's have the same thing happen with in our case. So I'm gonna select this section, and then I'm gonna go to the vertical alignment, and I'm gonna say I want everything aligned in the middle. See that? Now everything's aligned in the middle. Now all we need now is our picture, and we will have completed this section. So let's go ahead and grab that picture. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll select the image, click on the image here, select files, and I am looking for the business coach picture, which is this right here. We're going to open it. Let's upload it. Let's add a alt tag here. And there's our picture. Okay. Looks really good. So right now it's coming in as large. I'm going to have this come in. Let me see. What does this look like? Still looks the same. So we'll keep it here as large. But what I want to do is now I want to style this picture to be closer to what this is. A little smaller. Has this nice shadow around it and this border. So we will do the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm coming here, click on style, width of the picture. Let's see, we can. It's about there, right? So 75%. Okay. Then we also want to use some CSS filters to get that black and white. So that's by clicking here. And I'm going to just remove the saturation, and now it's a black and white picture. Then we also want to get a border, solid border. We'll do 10 pixels around, maybe a little thicker, 15. All right, and the color of that should be something really light. Let's go with F9, F9, F9. So now we have a light border there. And then the box shadow, right? The shadow, there it is already. And I'm just going to blow this out a little bit more. Okay, to about 50. And then I'm going to reduce the opacity so it's not so prominent, right? So it just kind of has a hint of a shadow. Okay, very, very similar to what we have here. Looking really good. And our featured area is pretty much set. Okay, we've created our own featured area. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to update this. And now we could move on to the next section, which is creating this call to action here with the image and the call to action on the right. Okay, well, this is looking pretty good. Let's move on to the next section. So for the next section, let's look at our reference site here. So on the reference site, you can see here we've got this image to the left, some text to the right, and then this background right here. And this is just a simple call to action ribbon that goes across the site. So we're going to go ahead and recreate this section right here. So I'm going to go to our site that we're building. We're going to add a structure. I like to add an overall structure. I like to make it full width. And then in the content width area, we're going to make that 1300 pixels. And then we're also going to drag in an intersection. So we get the intersection by clicking on the elements, grab an intersection, drop it in there. It'll give you 2 columns right away. Select the handle to edit that section. We're going to make that section full width so that it spans the entire width of the column there. And then we're going to start adding our elements. So the first thing I want to do is I want to grab that color. So we're going to go here on the outermost section. I'm going to go to Style, Background Type. We want a color. And we're going to select, it's kind of a bluish, yeah, right there. A little bit more, a little darker right there. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and select this color. I'm going to add it to the color palette. And you do that by clicking on the plus sign here. So that next time we can use it without having to figure out what this color is. All right, so now that we've gotten that, the next thing we want to do is we also want to add our images, right? So let's go ahead and grab an image, click on the Elementor Elements icon. We're going to grab a simple image, click on the image, and it's this one right here. Insert, and there's our image. Now, if we look over here, you notice how the image kind of overlaps. You have this overlapping effect, overlaps the ribbon. We're going to create that same effect. So let's do it right now. So the way you do that is you come to your image here. We're going to select the image because we're editing. Whoops, I made the image jump. We're going to go back here. Select the image. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a border. So let's go to Style. You see here where it says Border Type. We want a solid border. We're going to say we want 10 pixels all the way across. And the color of our border will be white. Okay. Then we're also going to add a little box shadow to give us that shadow effect. Okay, so that when it overlaps, it looks really nice. And I'm just going to expand the blur just a little bit here, and we're just going to leave it just like this. Let's make it 15 blur. Okay. Now we need to make it overlap, and the way you do that, okay, is you go to the advanced settings, and we're going to set negative margins for the top and the bottom. First, unlink the margins by doing that, and I'm going to come here, and I'm just going to type in 40 pixels to start, and then I'm going to go back to the beginning and I'll put a negative sign. And the reason you do that is because for some reason Elementor doesn't allow you to start with a negative. Okay, so if I come here and I put -9, it doesn't recognize it. I actually have to do the number first and then move over to get that negative. So same thing, 40, and we'll do a negative, which will pull the bottom up. And now we can start to play around with this. So I'm going to increase the negatives there. Let's go 65, and then I'm going to increase the negative on the bottom as well. You can see how it's starting to create that overlapping effect. Okay, and we may have to adjust this as we add more content on the right, but for now, this looks good. Okay, now we just need to add some content. So we'll go back, select our elements icon, click on the heading. We want a heading. We also want a second heading. There's two headings. I like to put all my elements in and then style afterwards. We also have some text. So we're going to go ahead and grab some simple text. And a button. Elements, button. Now, if you notice, the entire time we've actually been building with the default basic Elementor elements, right? And we're still able to create a pretty nice looking website in the process. Okay, so now let's check it against the site that our reference site here. So I'm going to go over here, and yeah, I can see that this is coming together really well. So I'm going to grab all this text here, and that way we can have the same text. I'm going to come here, and on the second heading, go ahead and paste in that text. It's centered, I believe, right? And then we are going to also change this text to say grow fast. We're going to center that text as well, and then we can start styling it. So the text color is kind of a golden yellowish color. All right, the size is really small, right? So maybe about 15 pixels there. And then for the second one here, we're going to style that as well. We'll make the color white. Whoops. We'll give it our font. The fonts that we're using for this particular project is Rafina. Okay. We'll increase the size. There we go. And then we need to customize our text, which should be very easy. Okay. Style. We'll make this white. We'll center the text. And then our button is black. So select that button. Whoops. Button. Change this to book a consultation. All right, we're gonna center our button, and we want the background of the button to be black. Okay, yes, black. We want the border radius to be 0, so it's a full square. And let's see, anything else we're missing? Oh, it has a nice white border around it, so we're gonna add a border, solid, and 1 pixel around, white. And I think the text is a little bit bigger, so we go to text here and increase the size of the text. Nope, not that big. About 15, or maybe 16. Okay, great. All right, so now we're all built out. Okay, so if I look at this now and I compare it to the other one, okay, I can see, oh, we have got some spacing here, and our size is not as big, but this is looking pretty good. So let's come here on this. We want to create that same spacing. So from here, what I'm going to do, okay, is on the column. Well, first, actually here, we're going to reduce this just a little bit. Advanced style, make the heading a little bit smaller. So 39 might be too big. Let's make it 26. 28. All right. So what we're going to do is that this column here, I'm going to create some padding. And I'll give it a padding of 40 pixels. And just like that, we now have our nice space all around, right? So if you look at our reference site, pretty close, actually even better formatted, right? So reference site here, this looks really good. I'm gonna go ahead and update that, and we can preview our results. And here we are, okay? So now you can kind of play around with this if you want. If you want more of an overlap, like this one has a little bit, we can do that. We can add more shadow. But so far this looks really good. I want a little bit more overlap, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in the image a little bit more. So here's our image, advanced, and on the bottom, I'm just going to make this 65 as well. Great. Okay, and our section is now complete. So now we can now move on to the next section. Okay, so the next section is these coaching services area. We have the coaching services text, we have a little blurb, and then three column service listing. That should be fairly easy to build, and then we'll build this out and we'll be almost done with our page. Okay, so this is looking very nice so far. Next up, let's build out the services section. So to do that, we're going to go back to our build out here. And what I want to do actually while I'm here is I'm going to go to the sections here and create a little bit more spacing, right? Because if we look at the site here, we have this really nice spacing that really brings out the image and the content. So I want to do the same thing. Mine's a little bit close, so I want to create some spacing there, and I'm going to use padding to do that. So I'm going to unlink the padding options, and I'm going to add about 120 pixels to each, to the top and the bottom. Okay, so it looks about the same, right? Yeah, it looks pretty good so far. And then now when I come over here, I'm going to create this coaching section. And in the coaching section, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to create an outer section. I'm going to select that section, make it full width, boxed. I'm going to say I want the inner content to be 1300 pixels. I'm going to go ahead and create the padding now so we can see what we're doing by selecting padding under advanced. Okay, perfect. And then I'm going to select the Elementor elements icon, grab an intersection, put that in there, and then I'm going to make this full width so it fills out. Okay, very nice. Now if we look here, what we can see right away is we can see, okay, we have the coaching services on the top, and then we have the 3 columns on the bottom right here. So we're going to create the same exact thing. So the way we're going to do that, I'm going to come here. I already have my top section. Now I need my 3 columns on the bottom section. So I'm going to go back to the elements icon, which is this up here, this Rubik's Cube looking icon right here. I'm going to grab the intersection and I'm going to drag it directly underneath those other 2 columns, but make it full width as usual. And then now I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this. And you do that by right-clicking on one of the columns and hit duplicate. And now you'll have 3 columns under 2 columns. So now I've got my structure in place. I'm going to go ahead and start putting in the items. So first, you can click on the plus sign to activate the elements, grab your heading, and then I'm also going to grab some text to go underneath that heading. There you go, just like that. And in the heading, it says coaching services. We're going to style that. I'm going to grab a text color, and I'm going to use this color here. And then in the typography, we're going to use our heading typography, which is Rafina. You can choose any one you want. I just like this one. It's very elegant, really stylish. Okay, on the font weight here, I'm going to make this bold So it's thicker. There we go. Just say bold. And then for the font, we want our font to be black. Style. It pops really well. And then if I look here, there is a little bit of space here. So I can create this space using some padding if I want to. And I think that's what we're going to do. And if it's not enough, then we can use a spacer. So I'm going to go ahead and move down here to the next section. Click on that. Go to advanced. And I'm going to create a padding of 40 pixels all around. That looks pretty good. There. Actually, you know what? Why don't we not do that? Let's put in our elements first. So delay that order. Let's put in our elements first and then we'll start doing padding. So the thing that I want to add, if we look here, we've got right here, we've got an image, we have some text, and we have a heading and we have some text. So there's a couple of ways that you can do that. One is if we go to the elements here and we type in image box, okay, image box, you'll see this image box. And what this allows you to do is basically drag in an already preset image box for you. Okay, so we have the box, we have the heading, and we have the text. This makes it nice and easy for you to be able to quickly create these sections very easily. Now you could also do the same thing by selecting an individual image, an individual heading, and an individual text module, but why do that when you can just save so much time by doing it this way? Okay, so we're going to grab the image box. We're going to put that in here. Now, the image box, just so you're aware, if I type in image box, the image box is a default element, Elementor element. So this isn't something you have to pay for to get. Okay, so just so you're aware that it is there for you to be able to use very easily. Okay. All right, great. So now that we have our image box, let's go ahead and style this. First thing we want is an image. So we'll grab the one-on-one image. This is for individual coaching services. We want the image to be full size image. And then we want the heading to say individual coaching. We'll leave this text as is. Everything is centered. Then we're going to go to style. Okay, so in the style, the first thing we're going to style is our image, and we want our image to be a little wider and even about 75%. That's what I like, 75%. Okay, our content right here, we want our content to be color black for individual coaching. We want our content, as we look here, okay, great. We really want our content to be left aligned like that. And then we also want the text, the color of it to be black. Okay, it looks good so far. Looks really good. Spacing, we're going to create some spacing here by dragging the slider, okay, for individual coaching. Okay, and then we're going to use our typography. The default that we're using is Rafina. This is ours. Just type that in there and it'll come up. And now we have our section. Now you can make this image a little bit bigger if you want. If you want to go to image and you want to, excuse me, that's not it. Leave that the way that it was. We want to go to the width of the image and make it wider. You can absolutely do that. So I'm going to go ahead and make it 100% so it looks good. All right, so now we're done styling this section. Okay, so now what do? Well, we could go and do this 2 more times, which is done here, right? But I don't want to do this 2 more times. I want to do it. I want to speed up my process here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the icon here and click and select duplicate. It's going to create a second one for me. I'm going to do it 1 more time, duplicate, and then I'm just going to drag the duplicates into the respective areas here. And just like that, I now have 3 new sections, and I just need to switch out the pictures, right? So we're going to grab this one, select the picture. We want the group coaching. We'll add that. Okay, we'll select this one. And for this one, we want the corporate coaching. select that. Okay. So let me see here. Make sure this is what we wanted. Group coaching, correct. Okay. All right, so here we are. We have group coaching, we have individual coaching, and we have the, when we change this text here to say group coaching. And we'll change this text to say corporate coaching. Okay, just different services. All right, this looks good so far. So now we want to create some spacing because I noticed there's some really good spacing here going on. So let's do the same thing. So I'm going to go to the column now, go to advanced, and I'm going to add 40 pixels of spacing. See how that looks. Okay, that looks really good. So now I'm going to do the same thing to these other areas, and really easy way to do that is just right click on the column you just made the edit to, click copy, go to the other columns, right click, click on paste style, do the same thing here, paste style, and just like that, just that quick, you now have a completely styled section area for yourself as well. And this looks really nice. Okay. All right. So the next thing we need to do is to go ahead and create our next section here, which is this opt-in area. Now you notice the opt-in area looks very, very similar to this area. And what it has is it has the a title, it has the opt-in form, right? And then it also has this image as well. It's pretty much a reverse of this one. Okay, so to do that, we're gonna have to create this form and we're gonna have to get this image. So when we come back here, the one thing we need to do now is to create that form. We need to create that subscription form, and I'm going to show you how to do that very easily in Elementor. Okay, so go ahead and let's update our work, and then we're going to exit to the dashboard and proceed to create our form. Click on the WordPress icon, and we're going to create our form. Okay, now to create the form, we're going to use WP Forms, which we installed in the beginning of this tutorial. We're going to go to Add New. And here it says select template. Okay, that's a great thing about WP Forms. It already gives you a few templates to select from. We're going to go ahead and select the newsletter sign up form. I'm going to click on that. Okay, it's letting us know to set up our marketing. And you can see the newsletter sign up form here already has a name, has last name, and email already set up. Now, if we look at this one, the form here just has enter your name and enter your email, get instant access. So we need to configure our form to mimic this layout here. Okay, so when I come over here, I know I have name and last name. I'm going to go ahead and throw that away by clicking on the trash can icon here. That will delete it. Then I'm going to grab a single line and drop it on top. Okay, and then we're going to configure this by clicking on it, and then here to the left, we're going to change this to full name. Okay, I also in the advanced options want a placeholder that says enter your full name, right? Just like this one does. Oh no, it says enter your name. Enter your name. And we can just make this name. Doesn't need to say full name, just name. Enter your name. Okay, and then on the email one, which is already there, we're going to go ahead and put the placeholder text, make it say enter your email. And this is WP Forms Lite. This is a free contact form plugin. There is a pro version, but this tutorial is all about using free tools to create an amazing website, right? So that's what we're doing. Now the submit button, I want to change what it says. I don't want it to say submit. I want it to say get instant access. That'll make me happy. And then that's it. We're done. There are other things here. You can set up notifications, where it's going to go to, confirmations, and so on. This is fine for me right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and save the button, and I'm going to click on this embed here, and I'm going to grab this code. Now, Elementor has a way for us to pull this in, but I'm going to grab this code because I want to show you something. So now that we've done that, we can close out of this. We've got our newsletter sign up form. I'm going to go back to our page that we're building, click on Edit with Elementor, and now we're going to start building out that section. So what I'm going to do is, instead of building it up from scratch, I'm just going to use this one. It's already here, right? So I'm going to select the outermost section here, right click, copy, come down here, just click at the bottom here, right click, whoops, right click. So you got to click inside an actual section right here. Right click and click on paste. And just like that fast, it's already pasted that section in there for me. Okay. So now what do we need to do? Well, the image is on this side, so we need to swap sides with these images. So I'm going to grab this column and I'm just going to drag it across to the other side. And now it's swapped. Okay. I'm now going to proceed to switch out that image for the corresponding one that we have for this section, and that's now done. Then we need to add the form. Now there's a couple of ways we can add the form. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And remember, we copied that form, so we don't need this button either. All right, we copied that form shortcode. So I'm going to go back to the elements icon here, and if you type in shortcode, you can see there's a shortcode adder right here. So I'm going to drag this element underneath, and we're going to paste in the shortcode. Okay, and you can see now it's already added the information for me. Now, if you do it this way, there really isn't any customizations that you can make. Okay, so this is the challenge with using shortcodes in Elementor. You will get the shortcode as it's revealed. And if you take a closer look, you can see we have name here, the placeholder here. I want to be able to do it this way. Okay, so what you want to do is, we're not going to use a shortcode method. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And what we're going to do here is we're going to search for WP Forms in the search. So you notice Elementor, Essential Add-Ons for Elementor has a module specifically that allows you to style WP Forms. So I'm going to use that one. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that in, and you'll see that we'll get way more options than we did with just a shortcode. Okay, so now that we have all these great options, I'm going to say, hey, I don't want to show the title, right? Well, I don't want to show any description either, and I don't want to show the labels. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and update this and see if we can get a preview. Oh, before that, actually, we have to select our form. Sorry. So we want the newsletter form. Once you select it, it now gives you the form. So you can see we now have our form, and it's already styled nicely for us. So if I come over here, you see this. So we just need to style it. Okay, so we have it right here. What we're going to do now is go ahead and start styling it. So I'm going to go here to style. We don't want a border. We like the way it's already aligned. There's no title and description. So we're just going to go skip all the way to input and text area. We want the background color. We're going to give it this sort of light blue-ish. Actually, let's go here. It kind of looks like that. Make it very light. Okay, kind of like that. See if we're matching. Yes, we are. Okay. The other thing that I noticed is that the form has some padding around it, so we're gonna use that. But I just want this heading right here. Grab my 7-day business jumpstart. Paste that in. And it looks good. And I believe there's another piece of text. Improve your business over the next 7 days. Sounds very attractive. So we're going to go ahead and just drag this down here. Put that in. Go to styling. Make it white. Typography. We want normal. There. Now that looks good. And then I'm going to put some padding, because I noticed some padding around here that's making everything a little more narrow and makes it a lot cleaner. So let's see, we have padding here already. Let's increase that to 60. There we go. Actually, you know what? It's fine. Let's make it 40. That looks great. Okay, awesome. So now we have our very own section here with our opt-in form. And just like that, we are completely done with that section. So next up, we're almost there. So far, this homepage has come together really nicely. If we look over here and we compare it to this one, we are looking very good here. Okay, so if we just come over here, there are a few things that we need to take care of. For instance, our spacing right here needs to match, so we need more spacing so that this is nice and crisp. So I'm going to come here to this outer section right here. Take a look at what we have. We've got 120. I'm going to increase this to 180 so that it kind of matches up here. So that looks really good. So next we need to create the testimonial section, and then we'll create this contact section. So the testimonial section right here, if you really take a close look at it, very much resembles the coaching section. Okay, just a few things that are different. So to save us some time, we're going to use the duplicate function of Elementor's rows to create this section very quickly. And here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and right click on the outer section for the coaching services. I'm going to click copy. I'm going to scroll right down here, select this box, and I'm going to click on, I'm going to click on, oh, it's not letting me do it. Okay, well, let's just paste it here. Maybe it's too close. We'll paste it there, and then we'll just drag this one above it. Okay, right there. Okay, so now it looks like we have two coaching services, but don't worry about that. We're going to get this looking great. First thing we're going to do, we're going to delete. Then we're going to come here, and we're going to say testimonials. I'm going to go ahead and delete these. We're going to delete that one, and we will delete this one. Now we just need to drag in some testimonials. So if you actually go to the Elementor elements and we type in testimonials, there is actually a testimonial module, and this one's provided by Essential Add-Ons for Elementor. Okay. Elementor by itself also has a testimonial module right here. Okay, so, and then there's a carousel and so on. We're going to go ahead and grab the one from Elementor. Let's put it in. Okay, so you see it right here. Kind of matches the one that we have here with the text on the top and the person's picture and their title on the bottom. So let's go ahead and configure this. So I'm going to go ahead and right click on this. Select this. Choose my image. Here is my testimonial person. Insert. Okay. And I believe her name is Jan Rich. And we're going to leave this as her testimonial. Maybe we'll add some quotes. Make it look more like a speech. And then we're going to go to our style right here. The text color that I want is black. And for the typography, I want it a little bit smaller. It's really big. So let's go with 16 pixels. Okay. And then the title. Want the title, we'll use this color here for the title. And we'll also use the same color for the name. Okay, let's check it out. All right, looks good. Okay, so now that we have Jen Rich already situated here, I notice this is this appears to be left aligned. So ours is kind of centered in the center here. So let's go ahead and mimic that. Left aligned. Great. Now all I need to do is right click. I'm going to copy. I'm going to right click again. Paste. Paste. Right click again. Paste. And that quick, I already have 3 testimonials laid out. So now I just need to go in and change the information, right? So here we've got Daniel King. So I'm going to come here, grab Daniel, insert. Okay, we're going to change his name. I'm going to say he's a CEO or something. Okay, and the same here. select. I'm going to drop this casual gentleman here. And what's his title? He is an architect. And his name is Ben Raleigh. Okay, these are not real people, by the way. Let me see here. Ben Raleigh, architect. Okay, and now we're done. Now we've set up our testimonials. Really that quick. Okay, so now I noticed there's 6 testimonials here. It's just they're just duplicates, but we can do that very easily. So I can just go ahead and grab this section here, right click on it, hit duplicate, and now I also have duplicate testimonials. And our testimonial section is now done. So if we take a look at our full site for now, before we build out that final section, you will notice that the site is actually looking very good, looking very nice. We're almost there. Okay, so let's go ahead and build out this last section right here, which is the contact page and the contact area, final contact area for this home page. We'll also do the footer, and then we'll do the animations that are flowing in here. So when you first visit the site, you see all these animations that come through. I'll show you how to do all these. Okay, very easy and a lot of fun to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right into it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started building out this section. It's really easy. It's just a text section with heading and some text, and then the contact form floated across this section here, and then the footer area right here. Okay, so we'll go to our current site that we're building. Scroll down, we'll open up Elementor, and what I want to do is add a main section here. I'm going to go ahead and make sure it spans across full width. The box area I want to be 1300 pixels. And then I'm going to add an inner section, which will give me 2 columns right away. And then I'm going to make sure that those 2 columns also span the full width of the outer column. Then I'm going to go ahead and style the outside. So we have a background here, color of this color right here. And then I'm going to add some padding around it. So I like a lot of padding. So we'll do 120 pixels. We only want the padding on the top and the bottom. So I'm going to unlink this and set the left and right padding to 0. And now our section is ready. So this should be fairly easy and very quick. Just go ahead and grab a heading. And see what this says. Getting started is easy. Okay, so this is very simple. We'll center that. Text color will be white. And this is in our typography. So you guys just go to Style, Text Color, White, click on Typography, and we're going to change this font to our font for this project, which is Rafina. And then we're also going to add some text below. Okay. And I also want this text to be centered. So I'm going to go to Style, center the text, color will be white. And then go back to Content, and we're going to type in complete the form. Okay. So this looks pretty good so far, right? So if we preview this, we've already got the section already done. Now you'll notice here that there's a little bit more space in between. So we'll do the same for ours. Reduce the spacing a little bit. And the way we do that is we're going to do, because Elementor tends to add some negative padding around, some padding around the text here. So we're going to do a negative margin on this. And the way we do that, you can just start with 1. Oh, let's unlink that. Set it back to 0. All right. Maybe you can just add a 1 here. Then move your cursor over to the left, put a negative sign. And let's see, 0 for 10 pixels. We'll draw this up right about there. It's fine. It's great. Okay, so now we're done with this section. Now all we need to do is add the form. Okay, so to add the form, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and save what I have so far. We have to go and create the form using WP Forms. Okay, so I'm going to go to the Elementor editor here. I'm going to exit to the dashboard. And then we're going to go to WP Forms. We're going to click on Add New. And if you're using WP Forms Lite, you'll notice that there's already a simple contact form here already. Okay, so we can just start there to save ourselves some time. And it has all the fields that we need, right? Name, first name, last name, email, and comment and message. And if we look at the one here, we've got first name, last name, email, business name, and then describe the challenge you want assistance with. So we just need to customize our form to match this one. So we're going to add one additional field, which is going to be the business name field. Okay, I'll select this, changed it to business name. We will make it a required field because this is a business coach, so he needs to know. And then here, the comment or message, we're going to change that text to say, describe the challenge you are dealing with. Okay, and our form is ready, just like that. So we're going to click Save and close this out. Actually, we need to do one more thing. So let's go back to edit this. And if you notice, the name of this form is a simple contact form. So we don't want it to say that. We actually want it to say contact Clifton, in case we're going to use this title text in our design here. So I'm going to click Save, close this. We're going to go to our page, edit with Elementor. Scroll down to the footer area, and right here we're going to go ahead and add our form. So it's very simple. Just go ahead and search for WP Forms. We're going to grab that, pull it in. Now the WP Forms widget is supplied by Essential Add-Ons for Elementor, which is a free plugin. And this plugin allows us to have more design options than the traditional shortcode. So I'm going to go ahead and select Contact Clifton as our form, and you can see the form is populated here already. Okay, and then we're going to now do some designing around that. Okay, so if we go to the form here, we notice that the form has a white background. There's a border here, and the texts for the labels for the form are darker. So let's go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave everything as is here. I'm going to go to Style, and we're going to say Form Background Color. It's going to be white. Okay. Now that's done. Let's close this. And then we're going to look at the forms padding. And we're going to give it a padding of 50 pixels. So it gave it a padding of 50 pixels, but I noticed that the background is on the inside. So let's reverse that. Let's go back to our style. We're going to remove this color. We're going to say we don't want that color. And instead of styling the form background, I'm just going to style the column, because it looks like the form background doesn't flow all the way across the column here. So what we're going to do, I'm going to select the column. We're going to go to Style, Background. It's white. Perfect. Then we want a border. Okay. Solid border. 10 pixels. It's looking pretty good. And the color can be a similar color, just a little lighter. Give us a nice border there. Okay. And so far this looks great. Okay. Then the next thing that we want to do is we want this, we want a little bit of padding around this so that it's a little bit more narrow, right? So if we look here, we have some nice padding around there. Okay, so I'm going to go to Advanced, And we'll do 50 pixels of padding. That looks good so far. And then we're going to reduce this a little bit so it's not so wide. There we go. And then the next thing we do is we need to float this above right? So this is floating here, okay? And there's also a little bit of a shadow going on. So let's float it first since we're already here. We're going to do our usual I keep forgetting to unlink. So unlink, I'm going to do a 1 here, just put a number there, put the negative, and then we're going to float this, but let's say 200. Oops. There we go. Okay, 200 pixels. And then we need a shadow, okay? So I'm gonna come here, style, border, box shadow, and the shadow is already added here. So I got it 10 pixels. I'm gonna make it 15 pixels. Okay, let's go ahead and update, okay? So we can kind of compare what we've got here. So if I look at this one, we can notice that this is actually aligned more in the middle. So let's do the same thing on ours. And the way you do that is if you come to this outer section right here, this section, the column section that's holding both these columns. And if we go to layout, vertical align, we'll say middle. Okay, so vertical align, we'll say middle. That looks pretty good. And then we will adjust this slightly. Advanced, so maybe we want that to be about 20 pixels lower. So 180. There we go. Okay, and now we have something that's a little closer to what this is. It's great. Okay. All right, and now we've completed our completed floating area. Okay. Our website has come together pretty well now. There's just one more thing that we need to do, and that is to edit the section right here, the footer, where it still says Clifton Creative Coaching WordPress theme by Cadence. So if this were for a client, I don't want them to see this WordPress theme by Cadence. I want them to have it either be my branding or something else that's related to them. So if you look over here, it just says Site by Clifton, and we're going to go ahead and create the same very thing there. This is super fast, very easy. So we'll go to our reference site now. We'll come here. We'll update our work that we've done so far. Okay. And one thing I do want to do is I want to grab a color, which is the background color here. So we'll go to style. Here's this color, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this color. Okay. And you'll see why in a moment. All right. Update. And we are going to go ahead and view the page. Okay, so here we are. We've recreated the site. Look, it's almost no difference between this one and this one, right? Nice, simple, clean website. Nothing too fancy and nothing too crazy. We'll build more advanced type websites in later tutorials, but this is just get you a good handle on how to use the free tools to create a pretty decent website. All right, so now let's go ahead and finish our footer. And to do that, we're going to go to customize, because the footer and the header is controlled by the theme. So we'll go to customize. We'll go to our footer here, which opens up the footer area for us. Down here, this is one of the awesome things about the Cadence theme. We can create any kind of footer that we want. So the footer is right here at this bottom row. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the gear for the copyright. And it says, it has here some placeholders: copyright, the year, site title, and then theme credits. I'm going to go ahead and delete the theme credit part. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the line here, Cite by Clifton. Okay, now that that's added, we now need to design the background color right here. So to do that, I'm going to go down here to the bottom row. I'm going to click on this gear, and then we're going to go to Design. And we're going to look for bottom row background. I'm going to select that background, and the color that I want is a color that I copied right there. So you see it matches. And then there is a border here. So I want this border, this top border for it. Style border. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to paste in that same color again, but this time we're going to start lightening it up a little lighter, and 1 pixel right there. Okay, so just to create some separation between the contact form area and the actual border here. So I still want it to be very subtle. I don't want it to be extremely, very subtle, just like that. Okay, great. Now we need to make this text be more visible. So I'm going to go ahead and select the text area, and I want the color. We're going to make this, let's see here, something like that. Great. And we are now done with that section. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this here, close out of it, and now we can take a look at our site, and our site is now complete. Now there's one more thing that we need to do for this home page, and what we need to do is we need to add in the animations, and this is where you get to be able to have a little bit of fun. So let's go into Edit with Elementor. We're going to animate every section, and I'm going to animate this entire row. So I'm going to go ahead and click here. If you go to Advanced and we click on Motion Effects, and you can put in like some animation. So we can do like a zoom in, see that? All right, I like that. Then on here as well, we're going to do like a slide. So we put in different animations that kind of gives it really cool effects. So I'm going to click here in this outer section, click on Advanced. We're going to select, we want to slide in from the right. Actually, let's zoom in from the right. I actually want to slide in from the right. I think it has a much better effect because it's kind of a ribbon, right? Look at that. Okay. And then we'll go to this section, and this is going to be a zoom in because it's a white section here. So come here, default, zoom in. Excellent. And this is another slide. Maybe this time we'll slide in from the left. Advanced, select motion effects, and we're going to slide in from the left. Look at that. Very beautiful. And then here we're going to zoom in. See, I just use 2 motion effects to keep everything uniform. So certain areas will have the same sliding in effect. Okay. And then here we're going to have a slide in from the right. So go to Advanced, Motion Effects, and we're going to slide in from the right. Okay. Now when we update this and save it, and we view the page, everything kind of slides in beautifully. See that? And our home page is done. Okay, so now you know how to build a very beautiful home page for a business coach using completely free tools. Now, to recap the free tools that we used, we got our domain and hosting, which is the only thing we needed to pay for, but the rest of it is free. So the WordPress is free. The theme, which is the Cadence theme, is free. And all the downloads for these are in the description. We use the free version of Elementor, and we use the free version of WP Forms, which is WP Forms Lite, and all our images are royalty-free images from pexels.com. In a later tutorial, I will show you how to build the internal pages here. For instance, like this engagement page, which is nice and clean and simple, right? A simple engagement page. We'll do that in a separate tutorial. But for now, you now know how to create a simple and beautiful, clean elegant homepage for a business coach. All right, if you like this tutorial, please go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified about the new tutorials that we get released on this channel. And if you have any comments about this tutorial, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.